Hello and welcome back to this beautiful space. And I'm really grateful for your patience. You've all been pinging me, you've been sending me messages, and I'm so grateful to each one of you. Today, we're going to talk about something very interesting. In fact, I'm hoping this can be a series where we're going to talk about desires. I get so many questions, are desires bad for me? Is it bad to have desires? I do have desires, but I feel guilty about it. I'm a spiritual seeker and I don't want to be bogged down by my desires. Every time I have one desire, it leads me to so many more, and it's a never ending vicious cycle. So, what really should we do about our desires? So, we're here to talk about that today. I'm Vidisha Kaushal, your coach and catalyst on this magical journey. I'm the founder of Conscious Life Academy, and I'm also a meditation guide on thinkrite.me, which is an app for your personal peace and happiness. So, yes, desires are what we're going to talk about today. So, what really goes wrong with desires? If we think practically, what happens? Let's say I have a desire. Let's take a simple example. I have a desire to have a better car. Okay, so I think about the exact car that I want. I hear all these things about manifestation, and I want to manifest that car. That's my simple desire. I want to manifest that car. And therefore, I work hard towards getting it. My energy is directed towards getting it, and I get it. What is wrong with that? Well, clearly, nothing is wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing to have in our life where we are able to manifest what we desire. But what goes wrong? Now, let's listen to another example. My neighbor has this amazing car. And I feel bad every time I look at my neighbor. I feel inadequate. I feel like I have less. And I feel like I am less. I am not enough. And I want to get everything that my neighbor has so that I'm able to look better, feel better about my life. It could be my neighbor, it could be my sibling, it could be the level of living that the rest of my family has. And now, what is happening is that this desire, what do you think it's going to create for me? Yes, you guessed it right. It's going to create a lot of pain, anguish, a lot of anxiety possibly for me. So, is it even going to be joyful to have this desire in my life? Forget about manifesting it. And do you really think the day I do get this car, I will be happy? Is this car going to bring me happiness? Well, clearly, no. So, what is it that can help us to actually figure out what to do with our desires? So, first things first, there's nothing wrong with having a desire. Let's get that absolutely right. What does catch us in our grip, however, is the attachment to a desire. When we start feeling that this desire is the reason I will be happy, that's when things start going wrong. Because what happens then is that the kind of energy we put into it to start with itself is negative. It is coming out of space of jealousy, or if it's coming out of a space of lack, if it's coming from a space of I am not enough, I don't have enough. And it's also coming from a space of misunderstanding what happiness truly is. If I'm basing my happiness upon having something like a car, then clearly the kind of energy I'm putting in itself is not making sense. It's not going to bring me joy. So, whatever I put in, that's what I'm going to get out, right? As you sow, so shall you reap. I cannot be sowing mango seeds and hope to have a banana tree. It's not going to work out. So whatever I'm putting in, that's the quality I'm going to get out. So what do we do? What we can do instead is every time there is a desire, here are some simple steps to get your basics with desires right. First step is get the intent behind it clear. And if the intent behind it is coming from a space of lack, from a space of not being enough, having enough, or thinking that this is the way to happiness, then we can always course correct at that point in time. We can always rework it, re understand it. Okay. How do we do that? Let's say I'm thinking my neighbor has a car, therefore I want this car. Can I pause and ask myself, why do I really want a car? Maybe there are a million reasons why I actually want a car, but I'm stuck with that jealousy part. So, can I align myself to the more beautiful reasons? Like, oh, I love the feeling of being in the car with my family. I love the feeling of going for beautiful drives. I love it when I sit in it and I can hear beautiful music and I can drive past these green fields or the hills or the lakes that I want to go to. Now, that's the way to put yourself into a beautiful energetic zone right in the beginning itself. So, that's step number one. What is the intent that you put into it? Step number two would be to actually state your desire to yourself, refine it to a point that you're actually clear about what you want. So it won't do to have negative desires. So many times we say, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be fat. That's not going to work out for us, right? Because it's actually putting us in the zone of what we don't want, and we continue to be a match for what we don't want. You want to shift it, make sure your desire is very, very clear in your mind. It's specific, but not specific in terms of telling the universe, I want you to do this. Rather, specific in terms of knowing clearly what you want. So many times in my life, I'll be honest, there have been desires where I was very vague. I was vague, and then I realized I was almost thanking my stars it did not manifest because I hadn't thought it through. The energy behind the desire was not really talking to me. So refine your desire, go deep dive into it. Many a times, if you have a list of 10 things that you want, you'll find as you do this deep diving, you'll actually come down to three or five because those are really your burning desires, the ones that you've been given as a gift so that you can raise your level, meet those desires, and actually enjoy the journey, right? So that's with the second step. The third one would be about letting go. Now, that's the toughest one, where we have put a desire out with beautiful energy. We're clear about what we want and we let go. When I say we let go, we actually surrender the outcome. We say, okay, this or maybe something even better. Now, if you find yourself saying, no, 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 I don't want to say this or something better, I want only this, clearly that's a sign of attachment, whether it is a person, a certain income, or any other goal that you have in life. The moment you're stuck on, this is the only thing that I want, there is attachment. But if you're willing to say this or something better, I'm open to receiving, this or something better. That's the sign that you're detached from that desire and that you're willing to accept the beauty and joy that life brings to you. So that's your step number three. Now, a lot of people ask me, how do I do this? One is by being present in the moment, right? The moment you put the desire out, get back to your present moment. When I say get back to your present moment, it also means we move our butt and we do what we need to do. We don't just sit there and speak up things. So, for example, for me, one of the easiest things I do is once I put a desire out, I do something physical that brings me back to this moment. So, I might drink a glass of water and enjoy the sensation of water being poured into that glass. That brings me back to the moment. Or I might sit outdoors and appreciate the sky, and that brings me back to the present moment. Anything that involves my five senses, it's a great way to anchor yourself back into the present moment. So that's one thing. And the last step, it's very, very, very important. This is where you avoid the trap. Start being consistent with your inner work. When you're consistent with your inner work, if you're doing some spiritual practices, if you're working on yourself, developing yourself, what happens is that over a period of time, your desires, instead of creating more and more desires of the same kind, your desires start getting more and more subtle, more and more evolved. Let me give you an example. One of the first desires that I had, I put them on a vision board. Maybe you've heard of a vision board. If not, just look it up. It's this visual representation of our desires. So I remember my first vision board had a lot of things on it. A handbag, and I want to be transparent here so that you who's listening can actually understand that we are the same. I've just traveled a little bit ahead. and that's all that there is to it. So there were a lot of things. There was a handbag, there was a dress, there were things that I wanted. And I made sure that I did not neglect those desires. I did not, belittle myself for having those desires, saying, hey, you're a spiritual person. How can you want that bag? I didn't do that to myself. Instead, I allowed that desire to be a very playful thing in my life. And as I started manifesting them, because there was no attachment, because I was not stuck, what happened was that I playfully started manifesting. Now, when I started manifesting, that's when I realized when I made my next vision board, the kind of things that I have put had changed. From things, it had moved to experiences. So I had put a picture of a vacation, picture of a class that I'm in, picture of a seminar that I'm leading, picture of this beautiful workshop that I'm in, and so many other experiences. And of course, there were some things also. Today, if I look at my vision board, a lot of it is all about contribution. It is an alignment to a cause that is even greater than me. But this did not start this way. As I kept working on myself, my desires kept becoming more and more refined. They also kept ascending. So the quality of your desires start changing. And it's a very, very beautiful, very joyful journey to be on. So embrace your desires, don't neglect them, but don't get trapped in them. That's what the secret is. And these 4 steps ensure that you're able to do that. I hope you have a beautiful time manifesting all your desires. We'll be working more on this series. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to put it down in the comments. What's the one burning desire that you have at this moment? And remember not to judge your desire. Why am I asking you to put it out? Because by putting it out, you're giving yourself the permission to have it. You're not neglecting it. You're also telling the universe you're open to have it. Plus, you're receiving all the collective energy that we are creating in this community. So that's number one. I want you to put that down in the comments. If you declare it, you can actually have it. That's one of the secrets of manifestation. The second thing is, I want you to write down in the comments what are the topics that you would want me to speak more about. I'm going to make sure that my videos are aligned to what you require because I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you. So that's what I want you to do. And with that, I sign off, sending you lovely vibes. Just remember that you are the abundance that you always seek. Loads of love. Take care. Bye.